Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chase Clover, and this is my review on the May 14th, 2014 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. So, we start off the show with Zach Hardy coming out, talking about how he won the championship, and then Alexander Rotten told him that he was going to use his rematch at Tap Out, which is in 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks. And then it said Kyle Reese was not in attendance, so I think the announcer filled in for him. And so Zach Hardy went to the back, and then that went on. And then the first match of the night was Greyhound defeating Fernandez by submission. That gained Greyhound 10 points, and Fernandez did not receive any points. This is a Bulletproof Series match. Greyhound defeated Fernandez and I guess goes up in points in the Bulletproof Series. After that, we got some surprising news, at least surprising to me, because I've been trying to figure this out for a while. The mystery behind Enigma. He gave a lot of information about himself in just 20 seconds. He said that he was a performer on the roster, but he was in disguise, so that does prove my theory of somebody on the roster having an alter ego, and I don't know how he's going to be revealed. I don't know who he is. I don't even know what color skin he has, what color skin he is, but what we do know now is he is one of the people on the roster, and bear with me here. I'm going to name every USW member on the roster right now. Alright. Amor, Anarchy, Ash, James, Titanfall, Philip Akron, Benny Franklin, Corner, Greyhound, Switchblade, Blade, Brandon Stickler, BP Fierce, Rush, Indigo Child, Prophecy, Lane, Tallman Chris Ross, CED, Chain Reaction, D-Dog, DHIG, Dwayne Porter, Capital, ED, Ezrank Hills, Fernandez, Gringo, George Martin, Jose Ramirez, Jameson Royal, Hannah Astley, Royal, Crimson Red, Eli, JLB, Dustin Raymond, Kyle Reese, Bay W, Marsha Guetta, Jay Lawn, MC4, Alexander Rotten, Vicious, Rain, Rushing Air, Scene Sheen, Seth, Simon Saint, Marshall, Simon J, TJ, Wilbur, Yo-Yo Joe, Lone Wolf, Weston Light, Cannon, Zach Hardy. Those are the people on the roster. Apparently, something that I did not know was that on the website they are ordered in that specific order. Apparently it's because of their real names, because what I noticed was that James came before Titanfall, and Titanfall came before Philip Akron. Apparently goes in order of the performer's real first name. So Amor is Alex Morgan, Anarchy is Aaron Clyde, Ash is Ashton Buttons, James is Bart James, Titanfall is Bax O'Neill, Philip Akron is B.D. Phillips, and so on and so forth. But those are all possibilities for Enigma. Not all of them, but most of them are possibilities for Enigma. So, he is a member of the USW roster in disguise. Second match of the night, TJ defeated D-Dog. Alright, as I said in my preview, I think for No Remorse, or Cold Greatness 9, or whichever one it was, I told you that D-Dog was not a performer that I saw potential in, and a performer that I did not see made it far in USW or having any success. TJ he's rising in the ranks just a little bit. He's not at that height yet where he is a star, where he is he's not even a B show performer. He's like in the C show, but he's trying like everybody else to earn his keep and to earn his keep. And so I would say, USW, use him on intensity, but don't use him on pay-per-views. Don't even put him in the kickoff match, not until he develops, because TJ hasn't had chances to develop. Before, a few weeks ago, the last time he had faced off against somebody was in August of 2013. So he had a long time off. I'm not even sure if his contract ran up and he re-signed with USW. I have no clue about that. But TJ is developing. You're giving him a chance now. Keep giving him a chance. It's bound to happen where he can get better and you can have a better roster, a bigger promotion, a bigger talent on the roster. And, yes, you have Zach Hardy, yes, you have Cannon, yes, you have Marjagetta, you have Weston Light, you have Yo-Yo Joe, apparently you have Derek Carter as well. You also have others that came in USW, such as Dwayne Porter and Dustin Raymond, and who else? There's Anarchy, there is Switchblade, there's Blade, there's ED, there's Fernandez, Gringo, so on and so forth. You have Alex Martin, George Martin. You have many people who have came to USW, in the near past, and have become good. They become great, and you want to develop this roster. You want to have a great roster. You have people who were in WOW, who were legends pretty much in WOW. They came to USW. You also have fresh new talent that not many people have seen before USW, whereas many people had seen people in WIW before USW. So now you have people who have come to USW. TJ is one of those people, but you want to have him develop, especially because he's on a winning streak, he's on a hot streak, and I think he can do well within the next few months, maybe to September or October. I feel like he could be a contender for the Extreme Championship or the Blue Belt Championship. He's developing, and I want you guys to give him a chance to develop. He's morphing into this upcoming performer, and I feel like you're holding a lot of these performers back. And I know they're watching this video, and I know that you guys are hearing this. D-Dog is not your kind of performer that you want to have on the roster. I don't know why they keep having him there. TJ is developing. You want to give him a chance to develop. That's what you want to do. I know what you want to do right here. You want to have TJ develop. You want to have fresh new talent. You want to make him possibly an Ash or an Alex Martin, kind of guy. But I spent enough time talking about this match and about him and about the other competitor in D-Dog. But time to get on with it. But my thing is use D-Dog less and use TJ more, just like use Titanfall more. Scene was the next scene. Whatever scene it was the performer. It was like a promo for like a return of a performer at Tap Out in like 2 weeks. I have some suspicions. My number one suspicion is Derek Carter. My number 2 suspicion is Morbid. My number 3 suspicion is no one. I feel like it could either be Derek Carter or Morbid. Now I know there was very few people who have been released from USW, and I think if I had to guess, if I had to have a bad guess, I would have to guess Azarine, not Azarine Kills. I know his name. Screw it. I'll remember later. Oh wait, hold on. I think I remember. Let me just look this up. Zeus Fitzgerald. That's what it was. Zeus Fitzgerald. I wouldn't bring up any promos for him, so I would guess it would not be Zeus Fitzgerald, especially considering he said he's pretty much done with USW. So I would see him joining another wrestling organization soon, but not being a star in there either. So next match was the third match of the night. Wilbur defeated BP Fierce. Wilbur, just like TJ, he's developing on this roster. He's becoming great. He's a big guy. He took down BP Fierce, not too easily, but he took down BP Fierce. He's taken down Capital. He's taken down a few other performers. He's teamed with TJ, and I mean, even though he lost to Zach Hardy and Marjagetta in the tag match, they are developing. TJ and Wilbur are developing. I feel like you can bring them as a tag team. That just popped into my head. You can bring them as a tag team. That would be a great idea. If you can make them a tag team, you can have them develop together. Therefore, you wouldn't have them in singles competitions. You wouldn't take up that spot on the card. What you can do is you can have them as a team and have them develop as one. BP Fierce, I wouldn't say stop using him. I would say use him less. Alright, yeah, I know. He was a former blue belt champion. That's great for him. But he won it once. He may have been a champion, but he won it once. BP Fierce, he is a powerhouse. He is talented. He has potential. I could see him being a world champion or USW World Heavyweight Champion or USW champion in maybe a year or so, maybe at that level, but I don't see him like someone at this current moment. I wouldn't use him as much as they are using him. I would have him develop. He's worthy of a kickoff match. Well, now that I notice, he's worthy of a kickoff match. I don't think he's worthy of a mid-card match in any pay-per-view. He's worthy of intensity matches. Intensity is pretty much for performers to develop, whereas a pay-per-view are for those kind of big names on the roster. I would have both of them develop. I would have Wilbur and BP Fierce develop. BP Fierce develop even more, but have Wilbur and TJ develop, because they need to rise in the ranks as well. After that, Rotten had a, Alexander Rotten had an interview, and he talked about how he was going to use his rematch, a tap out, and he was going to win the title, and he was going to beat Zach Hardy, and just went on and on and on, and then just stopped. It was a pointless scene, or a pointless scenario, or it was a pointless interview. Then they went to commercial, and then the fourth match came on, and Rush defeated Prophecy by pinfall in the Bulletproof Series match. Prophecy, good talent. As I said, even though I didn't mention his name, he came to USW. He wasn't in WOW. He came to USW. He's made his mark. Rush, he's picking up a few victories here and there, but I don't see him being that kind of guy on the roster, whereas he stands out. And, I don't know. He's kind of like the Daniel Bryan of the in USW. Rush in USW is like the equivalent of Daniel Bryan in WWE maybe 4 years ago. He didn't stand out. Not saying that he doesn't have a chance to stand out, because look at Daniel Bryan now. But Rush, I'm not going to compare him to Daniel Bryan, but I'm not going to compare him to anybody else. But he does. Everyone has a chance to stand out. Everybody has an opportunity. It's whether or not they take that opportunity. As a wise man once said, if the opportunity comes your way, or if the chance comes your way, take it. Whether you succeed or whether you fail, at least you know you took it, and at least you know you tried. It's better to die trying than to just plain out die. I'm sorry. It's better to die trying than to die not trying at all. If Rush were to take that opportunity, if he can notice where that opportunity is, he sees it, he sets his mind on it, and he goes for it, and he accomplishes it, he can stand out, he can be a major face at some point. I wouldn't see it anywhere in the upcoming year. Maybe this year. I wouldn't think so. But he is rising in the ranks. He earned 7 points with this win over Prophecy. Prophecy, who is gaining in the ranks steadily as well, becoming kind of I would say a blue belt championship kind of contender. Could be a world champion or USW champion soon. He could be that kind of B-show player or B-show performer to hold the title, kind of like a champion to raise his notice. But I wouldn't consider it to be a world championship or USW championship. I would say maybe the blue belt championship, not really the extreme championship or the tag titles, but the tag team championships. But or what do you call them? The unified USW tag team championships. Yeah, that's a mouthful. All right. But Prophecy, I see him being a blue belt champion. I see him in that, I see him being able to succeed at that, and being able to get to that point. But, Rush defeated Prophecy by pinfall. Alright, after that was the interview with the USW World Heavyweight Champion Masha talking about the number one contenders match as the main event to see who will face him at Tap Out in 2 weeks. The fifth match of the night was the third and final Bulletproof Series match of the night. It was the 6-man Battle Royal, Pinfall Battle Royal, for an extra 7 points. Philip Akron defeated Cannon, Gringo, Amor, Dwayne Porter, and DHIG. Philip Akron, tall guy. Now here's the attributes for each, or not attributes, but the abilities for each of these performers. Cannon, powerhouse, and a high flyer. Gringo, high flyer, technical wrestler. Amor, high flyer. Dwayne Porter, high flyer, technical, powerhouse. Philip Akron, powerhouse. DHIG, powerhouse, technical. These abilities match up pretty well. Philip Akron, he's a tall guy. Dwayne Porter, he's an agile guy. DHIG, he's a strong performer. Amor, weak, kind of the Gregory Helms of USW. Gringo, strong, I guess. And Cannon, built. What I would say would be, Philip Akron, I would say he earned it. But, I mean, if you take it this way, he didn't have too much of a battle. I mean, yeah, he had Dwayne Porter. Yeah, he had Cannon. But you also have Gringo, Amor, and DHIG, who haven't been heard of for a while. Gringo, not until he won the tag titles, the tag team championships. Amor hasn't really been heard of before this. Even now, not really heard of. And DHIG wasn't wrestling as often. Dwayne Porter and Cannon. Dwayne Porter, former Blue Belt champion. I think he's held the Blue Belt championship the most amount of times. Cannon, former USW champion and former USW World Heavyweight champion. First performer to ever do that in USW. To be USW champion and USW World Heavyweight champion. He may have had a little competition, but he also had an easier amount of time, as considering he took control of Cannon and didn't really let Cannon have control until DHIG moved on and Cannon eliminated DHIG. But Philip Akron pinned Cannon and won 7 points. After that was an interview with Capital about his main event match with Lone Wolf. After that was the 6th match of the night. It was Tall Man Chris Ross defeating Ash. Ash, as I have said before, his career is spiraling downhill ever since he accidentally broke. Ever since he accidentally broke Anarchy's jaw in pieces, his career has been going downhill. I don't know if it's because USW wanted to punish him, or if he's just been guilty, or if he's just hasn't been performing well. His career has been doing very well. I want to see him do well. He has potential. He's always had potential. He finally won the Blue Belt Championship, and then it let it slip away from him, and then he couldn't gain it back. Then he had an opportunity. He couldn't snag the opportunity, and he didn't really stand a chance against Tall Man Chris Ross. Pretty much a filler match on intensity, which is something you don't see too often. Well, I'm just kidding. I should bite my own tongue. You see that often on intensity, but it's only kind of to develop performers on the roster. But anyways, I'm not going to get into this match too much. Tall Man Chris Ross Tall Man Chris Ross defeated Ash. The scene after that was the interview with Lone Wolf about the main event match, and then the 7th match, kind of controversial. I'll get into a little bit. Zach Hardy and Majigeta defeated Alexander Rotten and George Martin. I'm sorry. Zach Hardy and Majigeta defeated Alexander Rotten and George Martin. What is controversial about this is, during the match, Majigeta was in a submission hold or something, and Zach Hardy couldn't stretch his hand out far enough, considering, Majigeta was in the middle of the ring. He couldn't get Majigeta to tag him in, and so he took matters into his own hands, went up to the top rope, and George Martin came across the apron, and he smashed his head in with his boot. You could hear the smack of the shoe or the boot on Hardy's head through the camera. I was watching it quite a few times. It just sounded just disturbing. It was right in the temple. But what apparently happened was when we watched the replay, as the announcers said something about how he had his arm, I also noticed, considering they couldn't find out about this eye, if they looked hard enough, you could see how his right eye socket, I think it was his right or left, I think it's his left eye socket, well, no, right, left, so one of his eye sockets, it went right down. He went tripped, or fell off the post, and then hit his eye socket on the post, also hitting his arm on the ring apron, hitting his eye on the steps, and then hitting his arm on the ring mat below. The ringside area. His eye, when wrestling, his eye was not like, it didn't look normal. I think it looked like his eye was squinted. It looked like his eye socket kind of collapsed at one point. His arm, he didn't really pay much attention to his arm. It was more than nothing. It was his eye. And he laid there with his head on the steps. Like, it looked bad. He was laying there with the medical staff, trying to treat down his eye. Kyle Reese is supposed to say something about the situation, later on in the day today, but in the end, he got the tag in from Mashigeta, and then Alexander Rotten tagged in George Martin, and then he just started wailing down on George Martin, and then he hit him with a super kick, and then a powerhouse clothesline, then a stomach pump, then went for a Hodiak clothesline, but got super kicked in the face by Alexander Rotten, kicked out of a pin by George Martin, and then went for a Hodiak faceplant again. First, Rotten moved the referee out of the way. Zach smacked Rotten with a metal or steel or whatever post, not post, kind of I'll just call it a stick or whatever. And then Mashigeta got Alexander Rotten over the top rope and out. And then Hardy went for a Hodiak faceplant on Martin and got him and covered for a 3 count. What I saw and noticed was that in Hardy's entrance, he came out with a jacket, which I guess he's coming out normally with now. Came out with the jeans, came out with the black muscle shirt, came out with the necklace. What I saw was that he was wearing sunglasses, which is something that was not very good for people, for if USW wanted to keep this calm and cool, because he hurt his eye in the same match, and he wore sunglasses when he entered the match, and didn't take them off until the ring bell had sounded. He also didn't take his shirt off and throw it into the crowd, which, when he did during the match, his right shoulder, looked all bruised and deformed or something, and it's kind of crazy how the number one performer in USW looks like he's pretty banged up, and I don't know what this means for USW, but if I were USW, I would give him time off, because that did not look, he did not look very healthy, he did not look well, and I could tell that he was sore and everything, because when he was walking up, he was holding his shoulder, and he was kind of using the title belt to hold up his shoulder, and you didn't really hear much after that. And then, after that, the USW Tap Out 2014 match card came up, and they showed the matches, and then the match number 8, the main event of the evening, for the USW World Heavyweight Championship, number one contender will be determined for the USW World Heavyweight Championship. Capital defeated Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf has gotten a world title shot twice in a row. Capital, his turn. Lone Wolf went up for the Howl, and Capital caught him with the Capital Punishment. Boot right to the freaking stomach as he went for the crossbody, whatever, and got him for the pin. What I want to see is Capital defeating Mashigeta, but I don't think it'll happen. I think Capital is still developing. I mean, he's very developed. I think he's still developing. He's still in that act of developing. I think he has a ways to go before he's the world champion. but at the same time, so is Lone Wolf, and he's gotten close to winning the title. But both competitors, very good competitors, proved their worth in the past few months, and they've had their bumps in the road, and Capital just seemed to be the bigger man and the bigger competitor this week. He just seemed to have it all said and done. Lone Wolf, one mistake got in the way of it, and so that's where that stood, and that's where we left off. And then to end the night, Majigita came out, shook hands with Capital, and then walked away as Capital celebrated. And so it'll be Majigita defending the USW World Heavyweight Championship against Capital on May 25th, 2014 at USW Tapao 2014, as well as Zach Hardy defending the USW Championship against Alexander Rotten. And both matches, I think Zach Hardy and Alexander Rotten are facing in a submission match. Rotten has a deadly submission maneuver. That move has made a lot of people tap out, and Zach Hardy cannot put his hand to the mat if he wants to keep that championship belt again. And I'm not sure what I think the Majigita and Capital match is also a submission match, but I'm not completely sure. But that's that. So that's all I have for this week, guys. That was my review on the May 14th, 2014 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Chase Clover, signing off.